So, hi everyone. Welcome to another Sunday Zoom meeting and another podcast episode. And if you are listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, you can find out more about the podcast, about our meetings here, about our online community on the website, which is www.acimwithkeith.com. Now, something I didn't say before I went on air is just ask the participants not to turn the chat box into a chat box, but reserve it for your questions. So it's nice and easy for Linda to find questions and not have to weed through lots of comments. And what I want to do is I'm going to prioritize people who put their virtual hand up this week over questions in the chat box, because it makes an awful lot more sense if I can work with someone towards an experience than it does me giving theoretical sort of answers. That's not to say I won't answer chat box questions, but they won't have priority. So I'll only answer whatever I have time for after the raised hands. Right, on with today. So as is tradition, let's start with some quotes from A Course in Miracles. Ooh, maybe we'll break with tradition. Maybe we'll start with an exercise first. That's when everyone goes, oh my God, don't ask me to do something. Titillate me with information. Don't ask me to do something. But let's do it. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, and Marcia, I'm going to volunteer you, and Linda, my lovely co-assistant, let me volunteer you. Someone else stick your hand up as well. So what I'd like everyone to do right now is I would like you to ask yourself, am I aware of my beingness? Another way of saying that is, am I aware that I am? Or am I aware that I am aware? So James, you stuck your hand off. Take yourself off mute for me and tell me how you got on with that.
Hi, Keith. Yeah.
Hi,
Can
James.
you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, for me, there's always a background of stillness and awareness there.
Good. Okay.
So I find it a lot easier during meditation. For me, it's very difficult to do it during just normal life. For me, it's either meditation and then it's very easy, or it's real life and it's much more of a challenge.
Yes. Okay. We'll definitely deal with that today. But when I asked you right now in your daily life, are you aware that you are? Are you aware of your being? What was the answer that you came to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, did you notice what happens when I say to you, are you aware of your being? It's what you do is you go into your thoughts for an answer and they shoot off around the place trying to find an answer to it, and there's no answer. And then what you do is you just sink back into the essence of your being and you taste the essentialness of what you are and go, yes, I'm aware I have being. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's
Okay.
almost like your sort of personal self wants to get in the way straight away, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
try to search
Yes.
and
And,
force.
and there's no such thing as a personal self. It's just thoughts. So there is no self there. There's just thought. And then there's the delusion of a self that's thinking them. So Marcia, how did you get on with that? Just take yourself off mute.
Sorry about that.
No.
Yes. Well, yes, I am aware, and I am aware that I'm aware, but it's like very fleeting.
Yes, no, that's
Um,
perfectly fine. No, I understand that.
mhm.
Um, so and once again, did you notice that when I ask you, are you aware of your being? that you go into your thoughts first and they shoot off around the place and they can't find an answer. And then you just sort of sink back out of thoughts and then you
Yeah.
taste your essential being and go, yeah, I'm aware that I have being. Did you notice that?
Yes, but I was not aware that that's what I was doing.
Okay. And if I say to you now, in this moment, are you aware of your being?
Yes.
Did you notice how there's no answer in your thoughts?
Yes.
You actually have to exit thoughts and sink back into the essence of who you
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, anyway, I always go plunk right back into the dream.
Yeah. Well, the
But
dream.
I know in back of me,
Mhm.
in back of this so-called body, there's a mind that knows, and it's always going back and forth from
Yeah. Well, you have a split mind.
ego, personality. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's very split.
Yeah. But well, yeah.
I mean,
We have a
yeah.
split. We have a split. But did you notice though when you asked yourself, am I aware of my being? You had to exit thoughts and taste something outside of them.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
for a moment. And then
Uh-huh.
thoughts jumped back in and they had an opinion on it. They were like, oh yeah, that was the being and blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
So and then so
Mhm.
okay, Linda, how did you get on with that?
Yeah, just when you said it, I just, well, I shut my eyes, but and walking around in regular life, I can't always do that, but like just now I did. And
Yeah.
of course, like everybody, I noticed the thoughts were fast.
Yeah.
Like I'm this, I'm that. And
Yeah, and the thoughts will be will rush in afterwards. So the first thing you do is am I aware of my being? And you go and you ask your thoughts, am I aware of my
uh,
being? And your thoughts go, I don't know. Do you know? I haven't a clue. I don't know what that means. That doesn't make any sense to me. And then we're like, okay, there's no answer there. And then we actually just sink back out of thoughts and taste the very essence of what we are.
mhm.
And as we taste that in the moment, we go, yeah, I'm aware of my being. Now, then there's thoughts that are coming back in again. But I want this to be, so it's absolutely fine that it's just for 1 second or 2 seconds that you actually just experience this because I want the mechanism clearly understood. Okay, there is no such thing as an ego. There's no such thing as a separate self. There's just thoughts. And then there's a delusion that I am the thinker of the thoughts. And what you are, so when we talk about what you are in the Holy Spirit, our shared identity, what Jesus calls the light behind the clouds, the pure awareness behind thoughts, that's what you're tasting when you say, am I aware of my being? That's what you're tasting for a minute. That is what Jesus calls the light of the world. Because what is true of you outside of concepts, Jesus says salvation is nothing more than the escape from concepts. Everyone thinks he must solve the riddle of himself. Who am I? What am I? What am I about? What's my star sign? What's my Myers-Briggs test? And he goes, salvation is nothing more than the escape from concepts. So I just wanted you to notice today that when I ask you, are you aware of your being? You being what you always are, you had to unmix yourself with thoughts and concepts. All right. So you're never not that being. Okay. We do have a split mind, but that means they're concurrently present. So there is always that being and that identity as being in your mind. Always. It's never absent. I'm just going to mute everyone again because we have some background noise. Okay. So there is nothing to the ego self, the ego personality, the apparently separate self, other than that being apparently mixed up and identified with thoughts and concepts. That's all a separate self-identity is. It is you, beingness, apparently mixed up and identified with that big mess in your head. But when you're asked, am I aware of my being? You, being, untangle yourself from thoughts and concepts, and you taste your essential nature in the Holy Spirit. So, Marcia, just get you to unmute yourself again. And when you do that and you sample your being, the being that you are, when you withdraw all of your identification with thoughts and stories in your mind and just taste pure being, is there any Marcia there in the being?
Intellectually, the answer is no.
Okay, but experientially?
Experientially, I know that no. It's just so firmly implanted
Well, there's a
in
thought
my
there. Yeah, there's a
split
thought
mind.
there. Yes. But when you do say, so let's do it again now. In this moment, are you aware of your being? And as you taste that being, is there Marcia there?
No.
No, because Marcia is made out of thoughts.
Yeah.
So Marcia is only that being apparently mixed up with thoughts and stories and memories and ideas and concepts. So that's all Marcia is. The ego identity, the body with a story. That's all it is.
Mhm.
It's that being apparently mixed up with that.
Yeah.
But what I just want you to notice is that even if it's just for 1 second or 2 seconds, when you say, am I aware of my being? Am I aware of being aware?
Mhm.
That in order to answer that, first of all,
Mhm.
you'll go to your mind and your mind goes, I don't know, I can't answer that. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand the question. And then you just have to sink back into a space outside of thoughts. And the point I want to make to you is that outside of thoughts, there's no Marcia because she's made out of thoughts.
Right.
Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes, it does. And my question is, how the heck do we stay in awareness?
No, yes, and that's what today's meeting is all about. Just how simple this is. But maybe based on that, then, that little bit of an experiential, if anyone wants to make a comment on that, try your hand up and we'll get to you. I'm going to go to some quotations in A Course in Miracles. This is from lesson 17. It's from paragraph 8. Now we will try again to reach the light in you, which is where your salvation is. You cannot find it in the clouds that surround the light, and it is in them you have been looking for it. It is not there. It is past the clouds and in the light beyond. Remember that you will have to go through the clouds before you can reach the light. So what Jesus is saying here is your salvation is outside. It is the light, the pure awareness, the being that is outside the clouds, the thoughts in your mind. He's going, this is salvation. Again, this is another statement of what he says. Salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. So you, limitless being, the light of the world, are apparently mixed up with thoughts and concepts and think that you're a separate self that's separate from everyone else, that's lacking in needing and wanting, and is trying desperately to medicate the pain of that limitation with your special love and your special hate, with your grievances and your graspings and your seekings in the world. The ego desperately trying to solve the problem of itself, which is that it's incurably unhappy. And Jesus is going, yeah, but you're not an ego. The ego is not you. The ego is just smoke and mirrors. There's no such thing as a separate self. It's made out of thoughts. He's going, you're the light of the world. It's in behind all the thoughts. It's outside of thoughts and concepts. You cannot find it in the clouds that surround the light, and it is in them you have been looking for it. That's what we do. We imagine we are this lacking, needing, wanting, separate thing that's different from everyone else, and self-hating and self-loathing and desperately trying to solve the problem of itself and its lack. And we're constantly asking the clouds, what do I need that will make me feel good about myself? You know, who can I manipulate in my life to love me? How can I find someone and manipulate them to love me so I can feel good about myself? You know, what is it I can achieve and get the good opinion of other people, and then I'll feel good about myself? So we're seeking our salvation in the world. Now, as Jesus would say, you have taken the first step on the stairway to hell by identifying as a cloud. You, the light, are identified with clouds. You don't know you're the light. You don't know your being. You don't know your awareness. You think you are this mess in your head. And he's going, and salvation is nothing more than realizing that your salvation isn't in your thoughts. It's not there. That's where you've been looking for it. You've been asking your thoughts, how do I become a better course student? How do I do forgiveness? How do I solve the problem of myself, the unhappy me? What can I grasp at? What can I seek? What can I push away to try and be okay? Because I'm definitely not okay. And of course you're not okay, because you think you are the clouds that you're identified with. And Jesus is going, salvation is nothing more than realizing those clouds aren't you. Your salvation is outside of thoughts. It is pure being. It is the light of the world. When you find it in yourself, you automatically see, my God, that's the truth of everything and everyone. So let's take another quote. And this is from lesson 189. Simply do this. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you've learned about the world, all images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you have ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Now, most people would read that and go, well, he doesn't really expect us to do that. Or they're going to go, yeah, but that's like for advanced students of the course. That's just for down the line. That doesn't apply to me, and that's very way off base. The workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles are mind training. Mind training. And one of the difficulties is that when someone asks in the group or on the podcast here, how do I do forgiveness? The answer to that makes no sense whatsoever unless you've done this mind training. And so lots of people will practice the course going, Jesus, like Helen, Jesus, take this fear off me. And Jesus goes, no. Do not ask me to take your fear off you. Ask me for help with the conditions that have brought the fear about, and they always entail a willingness to be separate. So again, people would read that and go, well, that's not really possible, and he doesn't really, expect us to do that. But I want you to understand, everyone listening here today, when I asked you, are you aware of your being? You did that. Literally, you asked all the concepts and the thoughts in your mind, Am I aware of my being? Is there a being there? You went into them all and they all came back with a negative. Doesn't compute. Can't answer that. Doesn't make sense. Don't understand the question. And you had to withdraw what you are completely from that big mess in your head and taste what you are outside of all of that. For just 1 second, 2 seconds, the 5 seconds that you did it, you came with wholly empty hands unto your God. And so what I'm going to suggest to everyone is your whole day long, ask yourself, am I aware of my being? And even if it's for 2 seconds, come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Don't worry about how long it's for. But I would like you to notice when you do that, when you let go of all thoughts of what you are and what God is and what the course is and what the world is, and you let it all go just for those few seconds and go, am I aware of my being? And you sink back into the essence of what you are as the light of the world outside of concepts. I want you to begin noticing what that does to all your perception. You know, if you're in the middle of a tense situation, an argument situation, in the middle of it, just go, am I aware of my being? And sink back into the essence of what you are and what everyone is, the light of the world. And notice how your perceptions change in the situation. Notice how your thoughts soften. Notice how healing it is, even for just 1 or 2 seconds, to come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Because just for those few moments, there's not even someone there going, I am the beingness, which is a concept. There's not even that. There is just being and nobody claiming it. Just being itself, the light of the world. So let's take another quote. Yeah, this is the one everyone hates. So I have to, it's my solemn duty to shove it down your throats on a regular basis. This is from lesson 52, and it's from paragraph 5. I have no private thoughts, yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing. Sobering. So let's put this together. We have being mixed up with private thoughts equals a separate self that doesn't exist. So Jesus is saying, what could they mean? These personal private thoughts. They do not exist and they mean nothing. What you, the person, think about the politicians, about the course teachers, about the course students, about the wars, Jesus is going, nothing. Valueless. Meaningless. All your cherished opinions on how people should live their lives and how they should treat people and what should happen and what shouldn't happen and what the good people are. And Jesus is going, meaningless. It doesn't exist. It's a big pile of crap in your head and you mistake it for yourself. Now, here's my course. And here's my forgiveness formula. And this formula is how you, being the light of the world, unmix yourself from that big pile of crap in your head. And make no mistake about it, every holy instant is coming with wholly empty hands unto your God. So prior to our use of the miracle formula, I being am mixed up with thoughts that Jesus tells us over and over again are not our real thoughts. We only think we're thinking them. And when we think we're thinking them, our mind's actually blank because it's not really thinking them. And that they actually don't exist. Don't exist. And he labors the point the whole way through the course going, you do not have any problems except one. You, the light of the world, being, are mixed up with thoughts that are not your real thoughts, don't exist, don't mean anything, and that you're not really thinking them. And he's going, and that's the only problem that you have. And our miracle formula is how you come out of that big pile of crap in your head and come with wholly empty hands unto your God in the holy instant. Because what you are outside of that big pile of crap in your head is what everyone is. Because the big pile of crap isn't real. It's nonsense, doesn't exist, means nothing. There's no such thing as a separate self. How could private personal thoughts be real when there's no such thing as a private personal self? So again, if I say to everyone again, are you aware of your being? In that moment or two, when you rest in the essence of what you are outside of thoughts, ask yourself, is there any separateness here? Is there any identity here? And the answer is no. Identity is made out of thoughts. Separateness is made out of thoughts. Ask yourself again, am I aware that I'm aware? And is there time there? No, time is also made out of thoughts. Jesus says the miracle is an out-of-time interval. When you come with wholly empty hands unto your God, when you unravel, unmix, disentangle yourself from all of the concepts and thoughts in your mind about what you are and actually taste what you really are, it's outside of time. Jesus says the miracle is a sudden shift into invisibility. When you return to the being that you are, is there any form there? There is no thing there. Jesus is saying, what you are, pure being, is not a thing. It is not in time. It is not in space. And it's not a something. It is nothing. And Jesus is going, when this nothing, the light of the world, the unmanifest, the unborn, appearing as a world, but never ceasing to be the unmanifest and the unborn, this nothing, it can seem to get mixed with thoughts and concepts that are not your real thoughts, that don't mean anything, that don't exist, and that you're not really thinking them. It seems to get mixed. That's why I'm using the word seems, because Jesus says you're not really thinking them. No one's thinking them. But when you think you're thinking them, because being is never mixed with that, it can just appear that way. And so when I return to being, I'm outside time, I'm outside space. There is no form here. There is no separateness here. There is nothing here. And Jesus is going, your problem is you think you're a something. That's your problem. When nothing, no thing gets mixed with thoughts and concepts that are unreal, not your real thoughts, don't exist, don't mean anything, when it seems to get mixed with them, this nothing seems like it's a something. And the minute this nothing thinks it's a something, it's experienced as a painful limitation. Another way of saying this, I am, isn't anything. I am is nothing. But the minute there's the illusion of I am this, now I am has become limited. Because now it's this, but it's not that. So A Course in Miracles is saying, you think you're a something, and it's made out of thoughts, and it doesn't exist, and they're not your real thoughts, and it's not you, and your only problem is that you're misidentified as an ego. So when this pure being gets mixed up with thoughts and concepts, it thinks it's a separate self, apparently. And Jesus is going, that's the only problem you have. One problem, one solution to every problem, because it's all the same problem. So we begin in the world and go, I was perfectly fine as this separate self, and look what this guy's after doing to me. Behold the suffering it's after causing me. I can't believe it. Look at my pain. Look at my misery. I'm such an innocent victim. I didn't deserve this. Look what he's after doing. I can't. And then we go, oh, hang on. Let's use a miracle. And Jesus is going, great. The miracle is that what's happening in the world has got nothing to do with your pain. All your pain is coming from you being identified with that big pile of crap in your head and thinking it's you. And it's not you. You are the being. You are the nothing that is boundless, limitless, one with all of creation and God. But you think you're a something. So he's going, your problem is not what's after happening in the world, and that's not the cause of your suffering. The only cause of your suffering is that you, being, awareness, have got mixed up with that big pile of crap in your head that doesn't exist, that means nothing, that you're not really thinking, and that they're not your real thoughts, and you think it's you. One problem, one solution to every problem, because it's all the same problem. He's going, I don't care what you think your problem is. It's a symptom of the fact that you think that pile of crap in your head is you, that you're the one that's thinking it, that it's real, that it means something, and it counts. And he's going, that's the only problem here. I don't care if a body's getting crucified. if it's fighting in a war, if it's encountering violence. He says, I don't care what you think the problem is here. Your only problem is that you, being, have got mixed up with clouds. That's your only problem. And if you separate yourself out from the clouds, all is well. There will be no problem. There will be just peace. There will be stillness. There is no lack in the being. There is no want in the being. All is well now in the being. Not in the clouds. Not in the thoughts. He's saying, no, 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 that's crap. That isn't real. That doesn't exist. It's not you. You're not really thinking it. Your mind is blank. Because guess what? You are always being. That's why he says your mind is blank. Because you're always being. You're not thinking those thoughts. When you think you're thinking them, your mind is actually blank because it's not really thinking about anything at all. Because that big pile of crap isn't you. And so 99.9% of the planet, apparently, live thinking that the big pile of crap in their head is them. And their entire apparently, their entire existence is trying to make the crap better. Trying to make the inadequacy and the pain and the lack and the self-hatred of identifying with all this crap, trying to medicate it and make it better. So the minute we have attacked the being that we are, the light of the world outside of thoughts, which mean nothing, the minute we attack that and go and identify with thoughts and build a self-concept out of thoughts, the minute we do that, it's experienced as painful limitation, self-hatred, and lack. And thus begins the soul activity of the imaginary ego, the imaginary separate self. Because the soul activity of the ego now is, I must solve the problem of my emptiness, my lack, my self-hatred, and my neediness. I need to make the pain stop. And so this imaginary thing, which is just being apparently mixed up with thoughts, the light apparently mixed up with clouds, creates this imaginary, painful illusion of what I am. And now the soul activity of this imaginary separate self is trying to find an answer to the problem of itself. And the expression of that activity of trying to solve the problem of its misery is seeking and resisting, grasping and grievances. Because this apparent mixing of light with clouds is so awful, the first way that seeking and resisting, grasping and grievances manifests itself is I need special hates and I need special loves. I need to have people in my life that I can see as worse egos than I am. So I can feel better about how awful this light and clouds mess is. If I can see other lights out there surrounded by clouds as worse than me, I can feel all right about myself. They can be the guilty ones, not me. And then the second is special love. I need to have people in my life who will respect me, who will be there for me, friends, lovers, husbands, animals. I need to manipulate these people to be there in my life, giving me what it is I feel like I lack and that they have, so I don't have to feel so awful, so lonely, so in pain as this light covered in clouds. And I will have a special relationship bargain with them. It's like, I will love you. I will cook for you. I will stand by you. But by Jesus, this is what you're going to do for me. This is the cost of what I'm going to do for you. You will stand by me. You will. You'll never leave me. You'll always treat me with respect. Because I hate myself. Because I am so lacking and in pain. And I need you to do that so I don't have to look at this painful condition in the clouds. And the minute they don't keep their relationship bargain, I have to worry now, because this thing that's keeping a lid over how inadequate and self-hating I am, how guilty I am, I now need to use guilt to manipulate them. This is how I'm going to enforce a special relationship bargain. Look what you did to me. Look at all that I've done for you. All I ever do, I cook for you, I clean for you. And look what you did to me. Can you see how badly you treated me? Look at the pain. You go back. By Jesus, you go back to loving me the way you should, so I can, and then I'll be loving you. But do it because I need it. Because I am this lacking, needing black hole of emptiness and inadequacy. And I need you to be my lid over that black hole of emptiness in me. I need you to give me some semblance that I have worth, that I do have value, that I'm not guilty. And then the minute it all falls apart, this love I was professing for you, everything I'd done for you, I do it because I love you. And the minute then it all falls apart, this relationship breaks down, what I was calling love all the time, which wasn't love, it was cannibalism and using and getting. And the minute it all breaks down, this, what I was calling love, reveals itself as what it really was all along, which is hate. So that's the adventure of the special love relationship. And Jesus is going, come here. Here's a course. It's very simple. Your problem is not what your partner said to you. Your problem is not that the neighbor kicked the dog. Your problem is not what's happening in the body. Your problem is not what's happening with the politicians. Your problem is not any of that. He's going, clouds. Do you know what they are? Clouds. They're thoughts in your mind that you think are yours, that you think mean something, that you think exist, and that you think you're thinking them. And guess what? None of that's true. So he's going, here's my course. It's really, really simple. The only thing, and this is what he says in the course, nothing can hurt me but my thoughts. I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. Because you're being. But being gets mixed up with non-existent, meaningless personal thoughts, thinks it's an illusion of itself, which is lacking and needing and wanting and self-hating and guilty, and goes out into the world needing people to hate so it can feel better about itself, and needing people it can feed off to feel like it's better than it is. He's going, no, there's one problem. I don't care what you ask me about. There's one problem. One problem. You're the light and you're mixed up in clouds. And here's a formula for how you look at the problem the way it is and not the way you're setting it up. What you are is pure being. You're mixed up in big pile of crap in your head, and you think it makes you a separate self, desperate and needy and clinging and grasping and grieving. And he's going, but that's not you. It's an identity made out of thoughts, and there's nobody thinking them. When you think you're thinking them, your mind's blank because it's not really thinking about anything. Because you're not a separate self. You're being. And so is your brothers. You're the light of the world together. In the Course, Jesus says, ask for light and learn that you are the light. He says, you are the light of the world with me. One light. Let's take another couple of quotes. This is from chapter 30, section 8, paragraph 2. Your brother has a changelessness in him, beyond appearance and deception both. It is obscured by changing views of him that you perceive as his reality. Your brother has a changelessness in him. What's the only thing in your brother that's not changing? Being. Go check. Am I aware of my being right now? Is there any change there? Is change even thinkable in being? Or is there just being? Jesus calls it the quiet center, the stately calm. And each time you ask yourself, am I aware of my being? You plunge, for however many seconds it is, into the stately calm, into the changeless dwelling place, into the essence of what you are outside of thoughts that are just a big pile of crap that doesn't really exist, that mean nothing. Nothing. N-O-T-H-I-N-G. All your opinions about everything as a separate self mean nada. Zip. Absolutely zero. It's crap. It's a false identity. It's clouds covering the light, only apparently covering the light that you are. And the only problem you have is that you're misidentified. Jesus is going, you have no problems, but you think you do. You have no problems, but you think you do. And you're not even thinking it. It's an utter delusion. They are just thoughts. No one's thinking them. They don't exist. They don't mean anything. They're crap. And all you need is a way to separate yourself out from them. To come with holy empty hands unto your God. Here you go. Just separate yourself out from all the concepts, and you'll see salvation can be seen as nothing more than this. Let's take another quote. This is from chapter 7, section 5, paragraph 8. This places you in a position of needing to learn a lesson that seems contradictory. You must learn to change your mind about your mind. Only by this can you learn that it is changeless. When you heal, this is exactly what you are learning. You are recognizing the changeless mind in your brother by realizing that he could not have changed his mind. That is how you perceive the Holy Spirit in him. It is only the Holy Spirit in him that never changes his mind. He himself may think he can, or he would not perceive himself as sick. He therefore does not know what his capital S self is. If you see only the changeless in him, only the changeless in him, you've not really changed him. By changing your mind about his for him, you help him undo the change his ego thinks it has made in him. So Jesus is going, your brother, the changelessness in him is the same changelessness that's in you. Your brother is not that big pile of crap in his head either. He might think he is, and then he'll think he's separate and sick. A body. A thinker of thoughts that don't exist. So that's what it means your brother is sick. And Jesus is going, no, so now this is healing. So you see the truth of your brother. What's the truth? Well, see all that stuff that's changing? See the thoughts and the behaviors and the beliefs? He's going, that's not the truth, that's clouds. So you look beyond the clouds and you see the light in your brother, pure being, that is the light in you. And by you seeing your brother as the light and not the clouds of crap, your brother will more easily know himself as the light and not the clouds of crap. And you will also strengthen your own knowing that you're the light and not the clouds of crap that mean nothing. That's healing. So let's go to another quote. Like you, your brother thinks he is a dream. Now, the dream is that being is what it seems to be when it's mixed up with a big cloud of crap. That's the dream. The dream is that you are a thinker of thoughts, an ego, a separate self among other separate selves. That's the dream. And Jesus is going, yeah, it's made out of thoughts. So there's your brother. He's the light, same light you are. And he thinks he's a dream because he thinks he is what his thoughts tell him he is. So he's going, you're both the light. and you think you're one dream made out of thoughts, the light mixed up with clouds, only apparently. And there's your brother, and he's the same light, and he thinks he's what thoughts are telling him he is. Like you, your brother thinks he's a dream. He doesn't know he's being. He thinks he is this big pile of crap. Like you. But you're not. So if we continue. Like you, your brother thinks he is a dream. Share not his illusion of himself, for your identity depends on his reality. So is your brother the changeless being? Or is he clouds? Is he thoughts and what they're saying and what they're doing? Is that what your brother is? Because if you think that's what your brother is, that's what you'll think you are. But if you see the changelessness in your brother, that no matter what the clouds tell your brother he is, and they're all lies, just like all your clouds are all lies, but if you see the changelessness in him, beyond appearance and deception both. What's the appearance and the deception? Thoughts. So think rather of him as a mind in which illusions still persist. So the changeless light, the pure being, the Holy Spirit, that's what's there. And your brother has illusions that he's a body and a person and that he's an innocent victim and that he's lacking and needing and wants. Just thoughts that are not true, not really his, but he's deluded like yourself. And he thinks he's thinking these thoughts and therefore thinks he's lacking and needing and wanting and fearful and striving and resisting and grasping and having grievances and clawing his way through the muck for crumbs of happiness anywhere you can get it. Jesus is going, yeah. Your brother thinks he's a dream. He's the light. He's pure being right now. But he thinks he's the clouds. He believes the clouds. He's identified with them. He thinks he's a dream. So think rather of him as a mind in which illusions still persist, but as a mind which brother is to you. He is not brother made by what he dreams, nor his body hero of the dream your brother. It is his reality, the changelessness, the being that is your brother, as is yours to him. Because the being I am outside of the big clouds of untrue crap that doesn't really exist, all the thoughts and concepts and ideas, and outside of that, what I am as the light of the world, guess what? That's the light of the world everyone is. There's just one light of the world. There's just one being. And the full expression of that is the real world. One being appearing as a world that means nothing and never ceasing to be one innocent, holy being. Your mind and his are joined in brotherhood. His body and his dreams, so this image of a body and his dreams, his thoughts, that he being is a person with opinions and wants and needs and lacks and strivings and grievings. So his body and that big pile of crap, but seem to make a little gap where yours, your apparent body, the image of a body, and your big pile of crap, just thoughts, clouds obscuring the light that you are, his body and his dreams, but seem to make a little gap where yours have joined with his. But there's no gap because there's just one light. There only seems to be a gap when there's clouds apparently mixed in with the light. But the clouds aren't real. They don't exist. Okay, so this is from chapter 9, section 4, paragraph 1. Accept as true only what your brother is, if you would know yourself. Well, you just heard. The only thing that's true about your brother is the changelessness. Because you're the changelessness. Oh, your thoughts are changing, but they're not even your thoughts. And you only think you're thinking them, and they don't exist, and they mean absolutely nothing. And that's what's changing, the stuff that means nothing. The imaginary stuff. The big cloud of crap. Accept as true only what your brother is, if you would know yourself. Perceive what he is not, the clouds. All the thoughts going on in his head about who he is, and he's a body, and he's X amount of years old, and he's had this awful past, and he can't believe it, and, you know, that's what he blames for how miserable and unhappy he is, and, okay, that's not your brother. That's a big pile of crap. Clouds covering the light that your brother is. Perceive what he is not, and you cannot know what you are. Because if your brother is that big pile of crap, you are the big pile of crap that you have. If your brother isn't the changeless being, neither are you. It's together or not at all. Perceive what he is not, and you cannot know what you are because you see him falsely. Remember always that your identity is shared and that its sharing is its reality. Literally, forgiveness and healing, same thing, in A Course in Miracles, is where you return to the being that you are out of the big pile of crap that's going on there, the clouds, and knowing what you are, you know what your brother is. Your brother might think he's a big cloud of crap, but you know what your brother is because you know what you are. Let me just try and mute. Oh, I lost the name there. If you catch that, Linda, whoever, someone keeps coming up on the screen, just if you're able to mute them when they come on. Actually, let me just press mute all, and that should cover the multitude. Okay, that should mute everyone. All right. So healing is what I am, my brother is. Forgiveness is I am this big pile of crap in my head. My brother is that big pile of crap in his head and what it's saying and what it's doing. And look what he's after doing to the big pile of crap in my head. And this is the reason for my suffering. And Jesus is going, no, 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 no. No, no, no. One problem. One problem. You're not that big pile of crap in your head. So here's a forgiveness formula. And this is how you fall back into the essence of your being. Outside the big pile of crap in your head. And what you are, which is not a big pile of crap in your head that could be attacked or assaulted or diminished or no. In being, all is well. And that's the truth of who your brother is. He's not a big pile of crap in what it's saying and what it's doing. So make no mistake about it. A Course in Miracles is how you begin to notice that you're identified, thinking you're a thinker of thoughts, suffering terribly because of it, desperately clawing in the world for crumbs in the dirt for how you can feel better about yourself as this mess. And nothing works. Nothing takes the pain away. Nothing works. And Jesus is going, okay, here's a formula. Every time you notice that you've gone insane, that you, the light of the world, are mixed up with a big pile of crap that you think is you, come back with holy empty hands unto your God. Come back to the silence. Come back to the stillness. Once again, execute the escape from concepts. And the minute you do, the pain stops. And you know what you are and you know what your brother is. And you might only do that for 2 seconds. Jesus is going, this is a Course in Miracles. Plural. Not a miracle. Not the miracle. This is literally what you keep doing without cessation. Every time you notice the suffering of thinking, you are the thinker of thoughts. An imaginary separate self. Something that doesn't exist. Each time the suffering becomes acute, because that's what we do in the beginning, each time the suffering becomes acute, come out of the mess. Don't try and fix it. Jesus is going, you've been looking for your salvation in the clouds. He's saying, once you think you're a cloud, nothing. Don't ask your mind anything. Don't believe one of your thoughts. The minute you're suffering, you're going to go, I should ask my thoughts. How do I fix this suffering? Jesus is going, don't ask that big pile of crap. Don't ask it anything. None of it's true. It's not you. It doesn't exist. You're not really thinking it. He's going, no, 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 no. Your salvation's outside of that. Stop asking your thoughts anything. Your salvation is not there, and that's where you've been looking for it. Salvation is nothing more than the escape from concepts. Don't ask for concepts of who you are. Don't ask for thoughts of who you are and how you can be a better ego. Don't ask that. She's going, no, 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 just come out. Just don't stay there. Don't ask for more thoughts. Just come out. Just come out. He's going, but you're going to have to go through the clouds to get to the light. So what does he mean? So, okay, right. Am I aware of my being? There you go. I've come with wholly empty hands unto my God. And then my thoughts go, yeah, but this doesn't really feel that strong. I think it probably should be stronger. That is just a thought. You're not thinking it. It doesn't exist. It's not true. It's not real. And the only problem you can have is believing it. Or thinking you're having that thought. You're not. When you think you're thinking that thought, your mind is blank because you are being. You don't have to work at being. You are being. You just believe thoughts. So I say to you, are you aware of your being? You go, yeah, I am. Then you go, I think it was a bit stronger that time than the last time. Still probably could be. Jesus is going, crap. See that? That's crap. You're not thinking it. It doesn't mean anything. Stop thinking you're thinking of it. Just go, is that thought me? Or am I this being that's aware of it? Don't listen to it. Don't take its advice. Come out. But you have to go through it. Each thought that comes in. I don't know. I'm not really getting this. I think I'm a bit of a slow student. I don't think I'm. And Jesus is going, crap. See that? That's another big cloud of crap right there. You're not thinking it. It's not true. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't exist. And you only think you're thinking it. So let's go through that. Is that thought me? Or am I the being that's aware of that thought? I'm the being that's aware of the thought. Is this being even and A Course in Miracles student? No, it's not. That's just the thought. Is this being even in time? No. This being is outside of time, but sees a journey from the point at which it ended, looking back, imagining it's made once again, reviewing mentally what's gone by. When you come back with wholly empty hands unto your God, that's the finish line. Now, you might only last a few seconds before you start believing your thoughts again. And Jesus is going, great, let's go through them. Couldn't really stay in the being that long there. I'd say other people could stay in that longer than me. Jesus going, crap, see that? That's a big cloud of crap there. You're not thinking it. It doesn't exist. It doesn't mean anything. It's not true. And all you have to do is go through it to the light. So, is that thought about how crap I am? Is that me? Or am I the one that's aware of that thought being there? I'm the being that's aware of that thought being there. Do I have to work to be this being? No, it's what I am. Unless I think I'm mixed up with thoughts and that I'm thinking them. So Jesus is going, here's your formula. When that ego, which is nothing except clouds, thoughts, that's not you, that doesn't mean anything, that doesn't exist, when that's raging there, all you have to do is don't judge it. All you have to do is forgive it being there. Let it be there. Because it's nothing to do with you. What would you have to fix it for? Jesus is going, like he said to Helen, don't ask me to take that big pile of crap off you. Ask me for help with the conditions that have brought it about. Well, the condition that's brought it about is that you think it's you. He's going, but it's not. So if you look at it with no judgment, instantly being starts separating from it. If I look at the fact the only problem I have, Jesus says you must look at the problem the way it is. You think you're a big pile of crap. That's your problem. It's not. The problem is not what's happening to the big pile of crap. That's nonsense. That's projection. That means nothing. That's not your problem. Your problem is you think that you are that big pile of crap. That's your only problem. And you're not. You're the light of the world. But if you look at that big pile of crap and go, my only problem is thinking that's what I am, all these thoughts that no one's thinking, that don't mean anything, that don't exist, and all the suffering that's coming up because of it, Jesus is going, listen, just look at that as the problem that you have and don't blame anything else. Don't be trying to fix it. Don't ask the clouds, oh, how do I go through the eye of the needle? How am I ever going to? Jesus is going, don't be doing that. That's crap. See that another big cloud of crap there, and you're asking it for its advice. He's going, don't listen to it, that's crap. Look at the problem the way it is. I think I'm an ego. I think I'm a separate self made out of thoughts. I think I'm a thinker of thoughts. I don't think I'm being. I think I'm this big mess, this big pile of crap. And Jesus goes, Grant, all I want you to do is look at that. That's the problem. Don't blame anything else except that you think those thoughts are you. And look at that with complete non-judgment. And the minute the non-judgment happens, the empty, open field of being that you are comes into your mind. Now, don't try and have thoughts about the being. That's crap. Just keep coming back into the being. The minute you look at all the thoughts and the pain it's causing and just go, that's the problem I have because I think this is me. And I'm going to, right now, I'm just going to look at that with no judgment. And non-judgment is the power of the universe. Because that wide open field of being is here. And that's what you are. And you just hold this awareness of being as that big pile of crap rages because you think it's you. But you know it's your problem. Yes, I think this is me, but I know that's my problem. And I'm going to look at this as the only problem I have with no judgment. Not going to fight it. Not going to try and change it. Not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to forgive the fact that I think this big pile of crap is me. And now the light that reflects heaven is in your mind. This being, this open field, empty being. Just do that. Just watch yourself choosing to be a big pile of crap and knowing that's the only problem you have. And in comes the being that you are, the Holy Spirit, the light of the world. It doesn't mean you're instantly going to undo your identification with the big pile of crap that you think is you and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Doesn't mean you're going to do that straight away. It's going to be a lot of fear because you believe the big pile of crap. Like your thoughts are going, if you do that, you'll die. You'll disappear. You'll be annihilated. But you won't. Because when I say to you, are you aware of your being? And you untangle yourself from the big pile of crap. And you taste the essence of your being. Do you become annihilated? No. That was just another thought. Oh, I'll be annihilated. Just another thought. And so that's what A Course in Miracles is. You spend your whole day going, I don't know I'm being. I think I'm this big pile of crap that means nothing. And let me go back with wholly empty hands. And guess what? A miracle is that you keep doing that until you don't need to do it anymore. Because being is the truth of what you are. And there's no more big pile of crap. Clouds are all gone. There's no separate identity. There is the light of the world that you are, pure being. No concepts, outside of thoughts. Nothing whatsoever you can say about it. And this wholeness, this holiness, this completeness, you see, that's the truth of everything and everyone. This is God's one holy Son, appearing as a multitude that means nothing in God's one holy Son. This one light of the world, appearing as a world and only ever the light of the world. That's the real world. It's the end of separateness. It's the end of duality. The duality was just a thought. I'm this big pile of crap here and you're that big pile of crap there. That's duality. Jesus is going, no, one light. Outside of that big pile of crap clouds there that you think is you, you're the light, and your brother's the same light because he's not that big pile of crap either. And that's it. So he's going, listen, here's my miracle. You might only touch back into the truth of what you are and all your brothers are for 2 seconds. He's going, great. Honestly, you won't believe the healing that happens for you, even just in that second or two. And do it as often as you can. Just notice the madness of thinking that you're thinking these thoughts and that they're you and that you're a separate self and there's this other separate self and he's a guilty bastard and he never should have done that and behold my suffering. Jesus is going, oh, look, just touch back. Touch back. Is that you? Or are you the non-judgmental awareness of it? And the non-judgmental awareness of it. Is there any problem here? No. And can you see that in behind the big pile of crap your brother thinks he is? He's this same awareness, this same being. Yeah. So Jesus is going, cool. You, the being, see that being as the same truth your brother is, and you strengthen it in both of you. And that's how you walk each other home. Home from what? The dream that I made out of thought. The dream that I am a separate self made out of a big pile of crap that means nothing, that's separate from that other big pile of crap over there that means nothing. Jesus is going, it's just a dream made of thoughts. He's going, question every single thought that comes in and go, is that me? Or am I the awareness of it? Each time you'll see you are the one that's aware of it, because there's no thinker of it. When you think you're thinking it, your mind is blank. It's not thinking. And that's what a miracle is, folks. Do it thousands of times a day. Thousands of times a day. Go back for 2 seconds. Just feel the essence of what you are, even though you'll start drowning in the apparently in thoughts again and thinking it's you. And again, just go, am I aware of my being? Can I just forgive this big pile of crap here? That it means anything. It means nothing. Don't let me try and like sift through the big pile of crap going, how do I fix this? Jesus is going, don't do that. Come out. Come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Yes, yes, your thoughts tell you it's death. You think it's death. You think it's annihilation. You think you're destroyed if you're not your thoughts. He's going, you're not. Can you feel your being? Yeah. Did you become destroyed? No. Did you become peaceful? Yeah. And you'll plunge back into the big pile of crap again. Then you just come to your senses and go, is this me? Or am I the awareness of this big pile of crap? I'm the awareness. Okay, and we're not always ready just to identify as being or identify as awareness. We're not ready to do that straight away or in the beginning. So watch yourself. Watch yourself thinking you're thinking these thoughts of an imaginary separate self. Believing in the past and the future. Guilty about the past and terrified about the future. And Jesus is going, that's not you. But right now, in my madness, I, the light, think I am this big pile of imaginary, non-existent crap that I think I'm thinking, but I'm not. That doesn't mean anything and doesn't exist. And that's why A Course in Miracles is a rescue mission. That's why Jesus says, there is no statement the world is more afraid to hear than this. I do not know the thing I am, what I'm doing, what I should be doing, paraphrasing slightly. Why do you not know? Because your thoughts are telling you what you are, and they're all lies. And they're not your thoughts, and they don't exist, and they don't mean anything, and you think you're something that doesn't exist. Jesus is going, the world is terrified to hear that. But in this learning is salvation born. And what you are will tell you of itself. And your identity is shared. It is the one truth of all the world. So Susan, you've had your hand up for ages, and I have been rattling on for long enough. So what did you want to ask?
Hi, Keith.
Hi.
I have a question about, first of all, this has just been a really powerful session, if you will. Thank you. I appreciate deeply how your words help reinforce the learning that seems to come in stages, like depth, like deeper and deeper levels, more easily over more of the time, and more applications, I guess, more thousands of those times during the day that you referenced. So I was wondering, I love to read books, which are stories, and I belong to a couple of reading groups. And I was at the last reading group and I was watching the whole thing. And I wonder, oh my God, this is like ego, like super saturated immersion here as we discuss stories and our opinions about those stories, our judgments about how they're written, about the quality of the stories. Like it just seemed like a whole ego fest. So my question is, and that's kind of, that's a judgment and assessment, but my question is, as we learn to kind of shift our perspective and live more in a space of being and less in the clouds, is it counterproductive to like participate in things that focus so entirely on egoic evaluations? Like I feel so uplifted when I come and participate in this with you.
Mhm.
And I feel simplified, I feel energized, and I go about my day. And then the reading group meeting is a total immersion in the closed mind of duality versus the open freedom of the everything is, or everything is but nothing is. You know, it's so, can you help me with that? Am I undermining my efforts to
No,
learn?
no. What it's important to remember is that there's no hierarchy of illusions. Your course meeting, this Zoom meeting, reading the course, going to the football game, being in your writers group, being in your readers group, your book club, it's all the same. An illusion's an illusion's an illusion. And so when I want to split up the world and go, no, that's a holy endeavor and that's an unholy endeavor, and this is a good one and this is a bad one. And I feel, and then I start practicing magic. I go, I feel good at the course meeting and I feel bad at the writers meeting. So the writers meeting is the reason why I feel bad, and the course group is the reason why I feel good. That's magic. And it's not true. So again, this is such a powerfully simple course. Jesus is going, no, you've one problem and there's one solution to every problem because it's all the same problem. You think you are the cloud around the light. He's going, you're not. Come back. Come with holy empty hands unto your God. Just look at the clouds. Look at the judgments and the grievances and forgive them being there. The minute you forgive them being there, you unhook yourself from them. And now you can say, is that me? Am I the one that's aware of that cloud? I'm the one that's aware of it. Is there any problems here? No. So magic is never the answer. Nothing you do in the world can make you peaceful, and nothing you do in the world can make you unpeaceful. The only thing that can make you peaceful is knowing what you are as the changelessness. And the only thing that can make you unpeaceful is not knowing you're that. So you can be in your course group or in your writers group knowing that changelessness is the truth of you. Doesn't mean there's no thoughts there. You just have no sense of identity in them. You're not believing them. Your identity is the changelessness. And then it doesn't matter if you're in your course group or you're in your writers group. Because if you're in your course group, you know what you are being, and you look at all the participants and they're the same being you are. Yeah, there's a movie happening here, but that's not important, and it's not your job to stop it. It's your job to know that one being is appearing as all this, and it's still that being. And then you go to your writers group and you do the same thing. And you notice how your thoughts want to go, look how critical she is. No, she shouldn't be critical like that. That's the reason she's unhappy. And you go, oh no, hang on. That's my big pile of crap. She's being, but I don't know I'm being. I think I'm believing my thoughts. That's why I'm unhappy. So was that thought me, or am I the one that's aware of it there? I'm the one that's aware of it there. Right. Any problem here in this being? No. Is that the truth of everyone else in the book club? Yep. So it doesn't matter, because your peace isn't coming from what anyone says, what anyone does, how they practice the course, how they treat each other. That's nothing to do with you. Your happiness, contentment is non-negotiable. Your being. The only thing that can threaten, that can give the illusion that you being can be threatened, is for you to start believing your thoughts. But you can forgive them. You can say, look at these thoughts. I can forgive them. And that unhooks you from them. And now you can go, it's not me. Am I the one that's aware of it? This non-judgmental awareness. I'm this non-judgmental awareness. Great. Any problem here? No. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love using any type of interaction with other people as a way to practice seeing what comes up
Yeah.
for me to look
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that fostering analytic intellectual evaluation, which is the whole premise of gathering in that group.
No.
It,
What I want you to understand is thoughts are not a problem. Identification with thoughts is the only problem.
okay. All right. Okay, good. So you can have the conversations and all that jazz as long as you know who you are and you know the people,
Exactly.
you see the light in them, and then all is as it needs to be.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Thoughts
All right.
are not the
Phew.
problem. Yeah, thoughts are not the problem. I mean, none of them are
Okay.
true, because the world's not.
Right.
Because
sure,
you're not a person in the world. Like, nothing is true, right? But
right.
and thoughts, they're not true either. But it doesn't matter. The only way you can attack yourself is to become identified with the thoughts and start believing them.
Right. Good. This is great. I so appreciate
you
this.
you can be in the real world, and this body mind is working as a scientist for NASA.
Yeah.
But that's not, you just know that's not what you are.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's all kinds of computational and mathematical and blah, blah, and this is going on in the mind, but there's no sense of identity in it. There's no thinker of it.
That's the part. That's great. I totally get that.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
That's
so
why we
much.
never fight our thoughts or try to get rid of thoughts. No. The only problem is you think they're you think they're about you, and you think you're thinking them, but there's no one thinking.
Right.
You're being.
Yeah, no, it's a fun game to like realize when I'm not seeing someone else as the same.
Yeah.
Whatever term.
Yeah. I mean, look, you'll notice in the podcast that, very often when someone asks me a question, I'll go silent, which is kind of dead air, really, on a podcast. It doesn't make for great listening. But I do that so I don't answer from my big pile of crap. So what I do is I just make sure, hang on, is my identity coming purely from being? And is that the same identity of the person apparently asking a question? It is. Now, from that space, something comes. But
And that is the liberation.
yeah. So that's secondary, and it's incidental, and it doesn't matter. That's the miracle, is that what I am is whole and pure, and it's the same thing you are. The miracle is just self-remembrance, and Jesus says, and that your identity is shared. You just remember yourself, and you've remembered for all the world.
Yep.
And now you look out on the world and you see that the being you are is the being everyone is. And it doesn't matter what clouds they are believing and that they think there's something else. The sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself.
Yes.
Because when you know you're not the clouds of crap, you are the being in behind it all. Now you do legitimately look out and you understand all the clouds of crap are untrue. The good guys and the bad guys and the holy ones and the unholy ones, and you realize none of that's true. It's this being that's true, and it's shining. as the truth of all.
Right. It is the structure of everything that is structureless.
It is the structurelessness that's appearing as all
Yes.
structure, but never
Yes.
ceasing to be the structure.
Exactly.
It is the
Yes, yes.
nothing that is appearing as all apparent somethings without ever ceasing to be nothing.
Right.
Yeah. And that nothing,
Oh,
that
this is
nothing,
great.
that nothing is where you come with wholly empty hands onto your God. Jesus is going, hold on to nothing. Let it all go.
Exactly.
Every thought, every belief, everything you've ever thought about yourself, everything you think about the world, everything you think about God, he's going, it's all crap. He's going, just let it go. Don't get in there trying to understand it and fix it. And he's going, let's just let it go. Just come with wholly empty hands onto your God. Come into the nothing and find hope.
And that nothing is the same as like the blade of grass.
Yeah. Because the same, this same nothing, no thing, is
Yes.
appearing as the blade of grass, is
Yes.
appearing as the grain of sand, it's appearing
Yes.
as this body, it's appearing as that body, but it never ceases to be the nothing.
Which is everything.
Yeah. Which is
Okay.
appearing as everything, but never ceasing to be nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is nothing else but the nothing. So therefore
Correct.
it's everything.
Because there is no world. What if you knew this world
Yeah.
was a hallucination? What if you really knew you made it up? So there is no world. There is nothing
Mhm.
appearing as the world, but never ceasing to be nothing. And we are that nothing. That's why Jesus says, let it all go. Is that me? Or am I the nothing that's aware of it all? And that's home. And the ego goes, what? That's death. No way. There's no way that can't be the truth. It's all about the something. I know there's something I need to get in the world, and it's going to finally solve the problem of me and my misery. And it's going to be grasping and holding on to and having and Jesus is going, let it all go. Come back to the nothing. Come back to the nothing where all the pain stops and there's just connection and joy and peace, and it's the real world. And from here, from the real world, where you know yourself, Nisargadatta said it beautifully. He says, when I look within and realize I'm nothing, that's wisdom. And when I look without and realize I'm everything, that's love. And that's beautiful. And what he's saying is, the something, the apparent something, the light mixed up with clouds that thinks it's something, therefore limited. I can't say, I, Keith, am not everything, right? That doesn't make any sense. That's nonsense, right? I have to as Jesus says, change your mind. Now you must learn a lesson that seems contradictory. You need to change your mind about your mind. What does that mean? That all this pile of crap, all these clouds about who I am and what I am, and I'm a person and blah, 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 and people should behave like this, and they shouldn't have done that, and that teacher back there when I was in high school was an asshole, and Jesus is going, no. That mind isn't you. It's not even a mind, it's just thoughts. But it seems like it's a mind to you, and that's not you. So he's going, you have to change your mind about your mind. That's not you. You're the changelessness. You have to change your mind about what your mind is. You are the being. It's not changing. Thoughts are changing. You're not changing. You are the quiet center, the stately calm, the changeless dwelling place. Yes, thoughts are happening, but it's not you. This is your identity. Come with wholly empty hands unto your God. This is your identity. And now thoughts and deciding and doing will start to reflect your knowing of what you are as the silence, as the stillness, as the nothing. But it's still not you. The thinking and the deciding and the doing still isn't you. No. Jesus says, how else can you find joy in a joyless place than by realizing you're not there? And what he means is, you are the nothing that's appearing as everything, but it's still nothing. And that's the peace. Because the minute you think you're something, you think you're limited. and begins the never-ending seeking and resisting, seeking and resisting, seeking and resisting until death. Seek and do not find. Because once the nothing thinks it's something, it's fundamentally lacking and needing, will start seeking and resisting, and it will never end. Because something is limited, nothing is unlimited. The minute
Right.
nothing apparently thinks it's something, it's trying to get back to its unlimited nature. But the something has to dissolve for that, not add to itself.
So is that the undoing of all form, why form rises and falls? Like it can never stay. It's because it's an illusion that it's even come into form, that there is even form.
Yeah. I mean, the nothing is just appearing as, apparently appearing as forms, but it's never ceasing to be nothing.
Exactly.
But
So
if
its
you're
natural
asking,
state is to fall back into nothing.
well, no, that's not why that happens. It's because the images were a projection of a thought of what is the opposite to heaven's oneness.
Okay.
And heaven's oneness is eternity, unchanging, absolute, unassailable. That's the nature of heaven. And so the thought, what if there was something different than heaven, gave rise to the belief in separateness, that there's a separate me, and then that gave rise to the making of a world of images. There was no world made, it's just images that are made.
Okay.
But the one mind that makes the world and all the apparent people and the animals and the dogs and the grains of sand and all the birth and the death and everything, that's the opposite of heaven. But one mind is, that's all happening in one mind. And so it's just happening in one mind. It is an appearance of one mind. It's made out of one mind. It's known only by one mind. So just this no thing is appearing as a mirage. That's the opposite of heaven, but it's always the no thing. That's the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit sees consciousness as one, not split between ego and Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit just sees oneness everywhere, because that's the truth. That's the truth of heaven, was oneness, no otherness. Oneness joined as one, non-duality. Father and Son is one. And so even in the dream of consciousness, the Holy Spirit in consciousness is the memory of reality. And reality is oneness. So the Holy Spirit looks at the whole of consciousness and just sees oneness. So there might be thought. I mean, look at this whole world is your mind. Literally look around. This is your mind. Now, not Susan's mind, because Susan is what's in your mind. Like this is. Like everyone here is. Like the book club is, like the course meetings are. All that's in your mind. Not Susan's mind. Susan's with that in your mind. And it's all, and so that the Holy Spirit is the memory of no thing. Unlimitedness, boundless, oneness, purity. And so the Holy Spirit, your part of our mind, is only ever looking at the forms the broken pieces seem to take that mean nothing, because the whole, one nothingness, is appearing as the whole thing. It's all an appearance of one mind with no effect on that mind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Abby, your time has come.
Hey, Keith.
Hello.
So my question centers around basically the whole second half of the meeting today. I have been practicing a lot with like when my child or even my husband is having an ego meltdown, just allowing the feelings to be there and not judging them. And that's massively helpful. But I struggle with trying to see them as the same awareness as I am. It's like I try to visualize it and my mind goes blank.
No, you see, the mistake you're making is that Abby is trying to see her husband and her child as the changelessness. So you never, ever try and fix your perceptions of the world. Remember, your perception of the world is not the problem. Jesus goes, you've one problem. My course is very, very, very simple. The problem is not how you're seeing the world. The problem is not what other people are doing. The problem is not what's happening in your body. The problem is not the big pile of crap that you think is you in your head. He's going, there's one problem. One problem. Your mistaken decision to identify as a separate self made out of a big pile of crap. That's it. And if you undo that mistaken identification and return to the truth of who you are, it's from there you will automatically see the truth of everyone else. But the mistake we make, this is the compelling trap of the ego. We always want to keep our specialness, but be the wholly special ones, the wholly separate one. So you see, Abby's trying to be holy by seeing her son and the child as the changelessness. But Abby can't do that because there's no such thing as Abby. Abby is just what you are being mixed up with a big pot of crap. So the thing is then, in lesson 8, Jesus says, the one wholly true thing we can say about the past is that it's not here now. And when you think you're thinking about the past and future, your mind's actually blank because it's not really thinking about anything. It's just a big pile of crap. So without any big pile of crap, without any stories from the past or the future, can you find any evidence of Abby?
No.
Okay. Were you obliterated?
No.
Were you destroyed?
No.
Okay. So when you look for evidence of Abby and you can't find her, what do you find?
Just presence,
Mhm.
alertness,
Mhm.
peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that whole second step is just unnecessary, right? It is, as long as I'm doing the forgiveness
Well,
process.
okay. Well, yes, but the important thing is, right? Because this is subtle. I say to you, what do you find? And you go, peace, blah, 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 blah. Great. But the trap is that I go, I, Abby, I'm aware of peace. I, Abby, I'm aware of joy. This is my peace and joy as Abby. This is wonderful. So that's not quite what we're talking about. So this is a subtle distinction, right? So when you look for evidence of Abby and you realize she's not there because she's made out of thoughts. So if there's no thoughts, there's no Abby. And so Abby is just the clouds. But what you are is the light. So the I is true. But the I am this and I am that is utter crap. And the cause of all your pain. And the reason you can't see the truth of your child and your husband. So I has to unravel itself from the big pile of crap, from all the concepts and the thoughts. And so when I look for evidence of Abby and there's no Abby, and I go, well, what do I find? You say peace, alertness, but are you separate from it?
No.
Because this is the truth of who you are. It's not the truth of Abby. And that's the subtle distinction. And so we're all the time just coming back to a silence and a stillness. Nobody is claiming. See, I am the stillness is just another cloud. It's a concept. It's thought. It's meaningless. Instead, there just wants to be this sinking back into the essence of what you are. Without a concept that says, this is me, this is what I am, that we want to try and just sink back into this piece. And then, so if Abby is just a big pile of crap and you are this light, your husband like you, thinks he's a dream. So is he the big pile of crap that makes him think he's a man and of a certain age and had a past and blah, blah, blah? Is that him?
No.
So what's he?
The peace and the awareness that I am.
Yes. Is he a different peace and awareness?
No.
See, all you have, that's why the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. There's no such thing as separateness. So I come back here. Separateness is made out of thoughts. I come with wholly empty hands unto my God by means of the miracle. I remember what I am. And I'm remembering for everyone. So from here, it's like, well, is my husband separate from this peace that I am? Is my child separate from this peace that I am? No. We share this being. We are the same being. Now, from that place of understanding, everything, you don't have to worry about it. Everything you say and do and think will be loving and kind and helpful and intuitive and guided. It's automatic. That's why Jesus says the last remaining choice we have in the world is the choice between two voices. Am I that big pile of crap, or am I the silence? And if I'm that silence, I'm that silence with everyone. No one's a big pile of crap. Everyone is the changelessness. And from that place of understanding, love will automatically meet the needs of the situation through me, and I'll have no investment in it. Because my happiness is already established by my knowing that I'm not the big pile of crap, that I'm here. So I found salvation, all is well. And now that I have no needs or requirements of my husband or my child to be a certain way so I can be happy as this limitation, that's gone. Now there is this wholeness. And I see this wholeness is the truth of them. And so I have nothing to get. And so I'm free to let love express itself through me, meeting the needs of the moment. And there's no investment in it because I know everyone's fine. Doesn't matter what's happening with bodies. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks they are. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks about their past or their trauma. I can just see the light in them. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to go negating what everyone thinks and believes and beating them over the head with A Course in Miracles. That's not the outcome here. That's not kind. But from this place that I understand, we are the same being. And there is the shared purpose of undoing our misidentification with the big pile of crap, thoughts and concepts, for the permanent salvation, which is escape from concepts. So we all have the same need. And so I know what I am, I know what everyone else is, and now I will meet them with kindness wherever they're at in their life, not by telling them they need to study A Course in Miracles. It could be just allowing them to speak without being interrupted. It could be just when they're having a bad day that they're meeting non-judgment and forgiveness. You'll meet people where they're at. Because you know what you are, you know what they are, everything is fine, no one needs to be fixed, all right? Everyone's already being. That's why Jesus says, I need do nothing. If you can understand this, you will save yourself centuries of effort.
I muted you accidentally.
No worries, Linda.
I'm sorry.
My co-host is trying to kick me off. That's why Jesus says, I need do nothing. See, when you know you're not the big pile of crap and you know your being and everyone else is this being, there's nothing to do. All is well. Everything is fine. It doesn't matter what's happening with bodies. It doesn't matter what people think they are or how they suffer. Or you see everything is this being now. That's why Jesus says, everything seen with vision is healed and holy. Now, in this moment, nothing seen without it means anything. So, and all that means is, and where there's no meaning, there's chaos. What's the chaos? The big pile of crap. That's the chaos. Oh, they need to practice the course, and if they do the course, they'd be happier, and that's what they need to do. And I'm such a holy ego. I'm going to show them how to do it, and I'm going to save everyone, and blah blah. And no, everything's fine now. And from that understanding, love and kindness will meet the needs of the moment where people are at, meet the needs of the moment, and that's it. And that's it. So the only thing you ever want to do, you don't want to worry about your husband's pile of crap, and you don't want to worry about your child's pile of crap. The only pile of crap you want to be worried about is the pile of crap you think is you, and falling back from it into the being, remembering what you are. That's not a thought-made identity. And what you are is the truth of everyone. And from that place, there will be love and kindness, meeting the needs of the moment. And that's it. Nothing more. All is well. And really,
healing.
that's just the movie reflecting the decision for the Holy Spirit you've made in your mind. And the movie doesn't matter, but it is an indication, because the body mind, previously known as Abby, is now practicing forgiveness and meeting people where they're at, and tolerance and kindness. Because the body mind is doing that, it's a decision you've made with your mind for the Holy Spirit, and now the movie character is behaving that way, but you're still not the movie character. See, the dream goes on. So the dream character Abby goes on. But it's not what you are. When you think it's what you are, the dream character Abby will be judgy and trying to fix the world and trying to save the world and trying to be a holy ego and trying to make other people guilty instead of herself, and she'll be suffering and can't believe it, and those are the guilty ones, not me. And the minute you fall back and you understand, no, that's not me. They're just clouds. That's just an identity made out of thoughts. That isn't me. I am what's here in the holy instant. I am what looks for Abby and finds nothing. I am what's looking for her and doesn't find anything. And it's nothing. It's wholeness. It's holiness. It's the present moment. That's who I am. And now that's the truth of everyone. Did you want to ask something else, Abby?
No, I think that was majorly helpful. I see that now.
So the dream character will act in a way that reflects your knowing of what you are, because you know you're not the dream character. In other words, in this moment, I'm not identified with a big pile of crap in my head. I'm identified with the sense of being. And I can identify as this is my identity, and I know it's your identity. And from that space, then something comes which should be helpful and kind and meet the needs of the moment. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's what everyone's asked to learn how to do. It's
Which
just
is why,
it's just changing your mind. As Jesus says, you must change your mind about your mind. You're not the big pile of crap. You are the unchanging. You are the being. You are the stillness that's here. Doesn't mean there's not still a body mind here that's, washing dishes and looking after kids and, whatever. It's just that it's not you. You're this nothing. And the dream character will reflect that in the dream, which will be the Holy Spirit script. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. Yes. Thank you. That was very helpful.
All right, do we have any, what was the first one in the chat box as a question, Linda? Oh, you're just unmute yourself.
Sorry. Okay. I had to answer the door. I'm sorry. Okay. The first one is anonymous. Is that what you asked? Because like I say, I was stepped away for a second. Okay. Here's my anonymous question. Hi, Keith. What do we do when our practice seems to be not sticking? I've been working on a perceived grievance with a neighbor who I believe has harmed me and my family. I keep going into awareness and think it has been resolved, but every time I see them, it all comes crashing down again. I know there is no me to be harmed, and awareness doesn't have this grievance, but the anger and the fury is intensive. I would love to stay in awareness with this, but keep slipping out.
Yeah, the minute we really start thinking about it, I would love to stay in awareness. That we're kind of in trouble because it's the separate self trying to perpetuate itself by identifying as awareness. I, the separate self, I am awareness. I, the separate self, am peaceful. That's the trap. And so try, and I know language is wholly inadequate to this, and I'm not necessarily saying that this is your misunderstanding, but I would like everyone to be very aware of how you think about this. It's a huge trap to say, I am aware of, I am in the awareness. That's massively problem. There's no one in awareness. Just check. Am I aware of my awareness? Yeah. Is there anyone in it? No. So who's going to be in the awareness? No one. There's just awareness, and that's what you are. But you see what you're saying, I, awareness, mixed up with a big pile of crap, thinking I'm a separate self. I'm looking for awareness and trying to stay in awareness. But that's the trap. And that's why in A Course in Miracles, you must look at the problem the way it is and not the way you're setting it up. Jesus says, it's not your job. It's not our job to seek for love. It's to seek and find all the barriers we've placed in the way of love. So, because you see, if you go looking for love, you, the light, apparently mixed up with a big pile of crap, are going looking for the light. But the big pile of crap you think you are is the shield that's blocking the light that you are. That's why you can't go looking for love. That's why you can't seek love. You have to undo the big pile of crap you think you are, but you're not. That is the block to the awareness of the light. And so what you need to do then, when you go out and you have all this hatred and murderousness for the neighbor, all you need to, Jesus says, all that is required is that you look at the problem the way it is and not the way you're setting it up. So you don't go, how do I pretend this isn't bothering me? How do I go into awareness where I can escape from all this horribleness? That's the trap. That's trying to seek for love, and it doesn't work. No, you have to look at the problem. And the problem is you think you're a creature of time made out of thoughts that things happened to. But your present moment awareness, you don't have a past or future. The minute you think you are this separate thing made out of thoughts, you plunge into self-hatred and guilt and inadequacy, and immediately that's denied and split off, and you need your special hate partners and your special love partners in order to medicate yourself, in order to solve the problem of my unhappiness as an ego. And so the problem isn't that you hate your neighbor. That's not the problem. That's a symptom. Jesus is going, there's only one problem. Don't be going trying to treat symptoms. That's why Helen says to him, will you take this fear off me? And Jesus says, don't ask me to take your fear away. When you ask me to take your fear away, that's your responsibility. When you ask me, you're implying it's not. Ask me for help with the conditions that have brought the fear about. So in this situation, you're saying, oh, how do I get rid of this hatred of my neighbor? And Jesus is saying to you, don't ask me to take the hatred away. Ask me for help with the conditions that have brought the hatred about. They always involve a willingness to be separate. So right now, you're identified as a story, someone with a past and things that happened to her, and she's an innocent victim, and how dare they, and blah, 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 big pile of crap. That's the problem. You're identified with that instead of knowing your awareness. Not instead of being in awareness. No one's in awareness. You don't know you are awareness. You think you're a big pile of crap. And so that's the problem. So again, the miracle never, ever addresses hatred, guilt, fear, regret. The miracle never addresses that. Jesus is going, don't go anywhere near those symptoms. You've only one problem. This is so simple. See all those things you think they're problems? They're not problems, they're symptoms. Don't touch them. That's why we say you allow and welcome the fear and the hatred and all the rest of it. That's why we say you allow and welcome it, because Jesus is going, that's not the problem. Don't try and change that. That's there because you don't know what you are. And so the miracle never deals with symptoms. It deals with the root. You think you're a person in time. And all of those symptoms are absolutely inevitable, that there's people you will hate and people you will cannibalize and people you will hate because they won't let you cannibalize them. That's all inevitable. Don't try and fix that. The problem is not that you hate your neighbor. The problem is that you think you're capable of hate and you're not. You don't know what you are. Because you, the light of the world, think you are all these thoughts going on in your mind. But they're not you, and they don't mean anything. They're nonsense. They don't exist, and you're not even thinking them. You only think you are. Because being isn't thinking. So instead, you look at the problem the way it is. So, okay, here's my neighbor coming, and I absolutely hate them, and I'd murder them if I have a chance. Okay. Can you just forgive the fact that right now you're identified as this big story made out of thoughts? Can you just look at the fact that right now you're identified with that? Don't try and fix it. Don't try and change it. Don't do anything with it. Can you just forgive it? See, the problem is we do this and we loathe ourselves. We choose to be the story. That's what was in today's lesson, actually. We choose to be the ego, the story, and we're trying to justify it and get rid of the blame, and they're the guilty ones, not me, and I have every right. And we hate ourselves. We know what we're doing. I'm going to stay this imaginary separate self by hating everyone else instead of myself. But it doesn't work. There's the guilt and the hatred for it. You know, I go out and here I am hating my neighbors and I should be a good course student, but I'm not. And I don't care. I hate them. And we hate ourselves. We hate ourselves. You know, we're staying the thing that hurts us, the separate self-identity, the big pile of crap. And we're just trying to medicate ourselves by hating other people instead of looking at how much we hate ourselves. And Jesus is going, look, don't do anything. Will you just look at the fact that you are choosing to be a separate self and don't hate yourself? Just look at it and don't call it sinful and guilty. Can you just be awake in your mind and noticing that right now I'm so fearful of the being I am, the light of the world that I am? I want to be this lacking, needing, hurting. And the only way I know how to make the pain of this stop, this limitation, is to hate and attack. And Jesus is going, just look, just allow the hatred and the attacking to be there. Don't do anything with it, but see what the problem is. The only reason you want to hate and attack is because you think you're an illusion of yourself and it's causing you terrible pain. And that's the problem. That's the problem. You think you are a body. You think you are a creature in time. Don't look at anything else. Will you just look at the fact that if you were not a person, would this be a problem? The answer is no. He's going, well, then the only problem is that you think you're a person and you're not. So you just look at the fact that you're hurting terribly as a person, and the only way you know how to cope is to hate your neighbor and cannibalize other people, and it doesn't work because the emptiness never goes away. And just look at the fact that in this moment, I'm choosing to be that story. I could choose to say, am I aware of my being? I could choose to go, who is the one who is the one that hates? Let me find the one who hates my neighbor. Without any stories of the past or future, let me find the one that hates my neighbor. And is there anyone there? No. There's just what's looking. And what's looking is already the light of the world. Awareness, being, non-judgmental awareness. The light outside the clouds. So, do that. Or if you don't want to do it, forgive yourself for not wanting to do it. It doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter at what it is you're forgiving. All you have to do is let non-judgment in your mind. And you've let into your mind the truth of what you are, which is non-judgment. That's the light of the world. So whatever point you're at, just forgive yourself. Just look at the fact that you're choosing to be this identity made out of thoughts, and it's too terrifying not to do it, and it's just easier to hate people and cannibalize people. But can you just and just notice that it doesn't make you happy? Just notice that hating your neighbor doesn't bring you peace. It doesn't actually work. The ego goes, this will work. Stay a separate self, and it'll be good if you hate your neighbor instead of yourself. And it'll be good if you find people you can cannibalize. They can tell you you're great, even though you won't really believe it, but it'll take the sting out of your self-hatred, and just stay a separate self. And Jesus is going, but just look at the fact that it doesn't work. The emptiness never goes. Pain never stops. The hatred is exhausting and uncomfortable. Just notice that all the lies that the ego, which is the thoughts we think are ours, just look at what all the lies the ego tells you about how to feel better about an illusion, of being an illusion of yourself, and how they don't work. The pain never ends. And attacking just makes it worse, doesn't make it better. Hating doesn't make it better. Just realize how exhausting it is, how it goes nowhere, and just look at the fact that this is the only problem I have, not my neighbor. Because your neighbor isn't causing all your pain. Your thoughts about your neighbor are causing all your pain. I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. Jesus says the one holy true thought we can hold about the past is that it's not here now. Is your neighbor doing awful things to you in this moment that you need to hate them? No. Is anything that the neighbor did in the past anything other than a story? No. Is it happening now? No. And that big past story, does it have any more reality than a dream I had last night? No. So your neighbor isn't causing you any pain or hurt or ruining your life or making you feel hatred. Your thoughts are. And they're not even your thoughts. No one's thinking them. They just don't exist, non-existent, and your only problem is you think those thoughts are you. And they're not. You're the one who sees them, that hears them, that forgives them. So the only way for you, just listen, when the hatred is flying as you walk out your door, just touch into the essence of what you are for 2 seconds. Just say, are these thoughts me, or am I the one that's hearing them? I'm the one that's hearing them. Is there any problem here? No. 2 seconds. Back into drowning in the thoughts that I think are mine. But just notice how things have shifted a little bit. And then when you're ready, just go, am I aware of my being? And just for a moment, you pull completely out of the big pile of crap. You touch into your being, we're all as well. What you are with your neighbor. And you'll go back to drowning in the thoughts again. And Jesus is going, just keep doing it. just touch, just do it. Just do it for 2 seconds. Just touch into the essence of what you are outside of that big pot of crap you've always thought is you. And do that. Do that twice the first day you're walking by the neighbor. Do it 10 times the next time you're walking to the neighbor. Just go back home for 2 seconds. Keep doing it till you can hold it for 10 seconds. Keep doing it so you can hold it even as the hatred and the fear is raging in your mind until you start drowning in it again. And then just come home to yourself. This isn't a course on how to be a happy ego. This is a course on how to wake up from the dream of death, to wake up from the dream that you're a person. To the light of the world, you are with everyone, and that's the real world. That's what this course is about. This is not how to be a happier ego, how to get on well with your neighbors. This is a course about discovering an invulnerable place of peace and truth within yourself. That is what you are, and that's what everyone is. And now you're invulnerable to the world. Doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter if you're crucified. Doesn't matter if the neighbor kicks the cat. It has no effect on being. Being is untouchable. And this is what we're learning. So don't set yourself unrealistic expectations. The next time you're hating your neighbor, just touch twice back home to what you are. The next time, do it 10 times. But do it all during the day. When you're washing the dishes and thinking thoughts about that bitch and what she said, and I can't believe it, and I really should have said this, and I should have. And then you just go, oh, hang on, can I just remember what I am? 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Back drowning. Oh, but can I just remember what I am in the Holy Spirit? Can I just look at these thoughts without judging them? Are they me, or am I the one that's hearing them? There I am. 5 seconds. Drowning again, hating the politicians, hating the neighbor, blah, blah, blah. They're the reason why I'm unhappy. I really need to fix this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, is this me? Or am I the non-judgmental awareness of it in the Holy Spirit? Non-judgmental awareness. Here's the peace. 4 seconds. Drowning. Just keep coming home to yourself. That's what the miracle is. It's just a formula to come out of the madness, back to the finish line where all is well. And the mad part of you will dive back into drowning in the thoughts that are not your real thoughts, that don't mean anything and don't exist. And just keep, and every time you touch home, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, it will fundamentally begin shifting your whole sense of identity. It will move you towards an entirely different sense of identification. Until you know categorically you are this being, and the thoughts were never you. There was never a separate self there. It was a delusion. And there's a peace here that's invulnerable. And the peace you're able to maintain in your mind, that you know it's what you are and you know what everyone else is, and other people being around you just start feeling this peace. You don't even have to open your mouth. And that's the unfolding chain of atonement. So this isn't a course in how do I, the separate self, stop hating my neighbor so I can be happier separate self. There's no such thing as a happier separate self. If you stop hating this neighbor, you're just going to start hating the milkman. The hate has to go somewhere. So like I say, fix this problem with the neighbor. The neighbor comes, grovels, big box of sweets and the roses. So sorry, can't believe it. There's a few quid for your troubles. I was an asshole. I've seen the light. And you go, that's amazing. And now you have to start hating on the shopkeeper. Because your self-hatred has to go somewhere. So touch home to the changelessness. Touch home to the being. You know, you've done it loads of times during the podcast. Now your thoughts will jump in going, yeah, that's all very well and good, but, and is that thought me? Or am I the being that's aware of that thought? I'm the being that's aware of that thought. Does that thought apply to me? No. I'm being. Yeah, but in the real world, blah, blah, blah. Thought I was thinking there for a second. Is that thought me? Or am I the one that's aware of that thought? I'm aware of that thought. Does it apply to me? No. I'm being. I don't know about this Course in Miracles. Keith is teaching from too high a rung of the ladder. That's all. Oh, thought I was thinking there for a second. That taught me? Or am I the one that hears it? I'm the one that hears it. Does it apply to me? No. It's an attempt to limit me. But does it apply to me? No. I'm not even thinking it. I'm being. Just do that. That's it. That's the simplicity of practicing A Course in Miracles. That's the simplicity of it. Touch home to the truth of what you are. From the madness of believing that you're thinking thoughts and that they mean anything or exist. And just keep doing it. Just every time you notice, oh, there you go, I was drowning in thoughts there. Thought I was a thinker. Can I just in this moment, can I remember what I am outside of thoughts? Am I aware that I'm aware? Am I aware of my being? There's the changelessness. That's what I am. Yes, I will go insane and think I'm a self that doesn't exist. That's why Jesus says, all temptation is but the temptation to perceive yourself as a self that you are not. You are being. But when being apparently gets mixed up with thoughts, it thinks it's a separate self. It needs to defend itself and had shit happen in the past and needs to sort that shit out and not let people walk on it. And you can't let people do that. And I got to sort this out. And clouds coming in going, here's how you fix the problem of how miserable you are as an ego. It's what you do. You hate your neighbor. You forgive this person. You don't forgive that one. You manipulate this person into loving you, even though you know you don't deserve it because you're just worthless. But keep going, just keep going. Live horse and get grass. Seek and do not find. And each time we notice the madness, the seeking and the resisting, the grasping and the grievances, each time we notice that, that's not the problem. It's a symptom that I don't know what I am. And can I just, in this moment, forgive the fact that I'm choosing to be an illusion and suffering terribly and trying to blame everyone else? And the minute that non-judgment and forgiveness happens, what you are, the truth of who you are, comes in on the forgiveness. Because who you are isn't judging. It's being. In just 10 seconds. Drowning again. 10 seconds. Yeah, and you really know you're making progress with the course, not because you're identified as being all the time. That's the end of the journey. That's not progress. No, progress is how quickly you realize that you've attacked the being that you are and identified with a big cloud of thoughts that are not your thoughts, that you're not really thinking and that don't mean anything and don't exist. How quickly can you realize, this is my problem? It's not the neighbor. It's not my hatred in the neighbor. This is the problem. I thought I was thinking thoughts. Thought they meant something. Thought they existed. Thought I was the one that was thinking them. Am I aware of my being? Can I allow the hatred and the thoughts to be there without judging them? And what's looking? Because the right mind is a non-judgmental awareness of the wrong mind. So step one, I look at what the problem is. This big pile of crap that I think is me. It's not, but I think it is. Can I look at that with no judgment? Now that's the right mind looking at the wrong mind. And the holy instant is where the awareness of the big pile of crap turns away from the big pile of crap and is the awareness of itself. The nothing, the being. So the first thing you have to do is look at the error with no judgment. That's the first thing you have to do. And now that non-judgmental looking turns back and notices itself. And now all the symptoms vanish. Now there's no hatred of the neighbor. But not because I try to get rid of my hatred for the neighbor. That's not the problem. The problem is I don't know what I am. So I forgive myself for being what I'm not. I look with complete non-judgment. And now I turn around and explore this that's not judging. Awareness, being. And as I make my stand as this, all the darkness collapses. But I don't fight the darkness. I have to look at the darkness with no judgment. Now non-judgmental presence is in my mind. And then I turn away from the darkness to what's aware of the darkness. This is what I am. This is the being that I am. Outside of concepts and thoughts. Now all the darkness collapses. So I hope that makes sense. We better wrap our meeting up. We've gone a good long time today. Before we sign off, there won't be a meeting next weekend because I will be in London. But I may try and organize one if I can during the week. So I'll announce that in the group. Don't think there's anything else to say. So guys, thanks a million for your attention today. I hope you got something good out of it. I would be much happier if you just felt the sense of being that you are, rather than you added a load of concepts to yourself. I hope you got a sense of the being that you are for 2 seconds, 3 seconds at a time, every time we did it, because that's a miracle. And just keep doing that until you don't have to do it anymore. Have a great Sunday, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you so much, Keith.